Image of the Invisible starts now.
Always remember love that I gave, the price that I paid. It was all for you. Come back on the Sunday, come back on us. Let your spirit fall down. Let your spirit pour down on us. Lord, remember us, even when we forget you.
Sorry.
We're going to
Let's take
play
it from the
top tonight. Yo, how's it going, man?
Good. How are you?
Good, man. It's been crazy. So, guys, welcome to the second episode of Image of the Invisible. I am Jason, and this is Phil. How's it going, Phil?
Good, man.
Good,
Can't
good.
complain. Another week. You already asked me that, but that's okay.
I know.
I'm doing just as good as the last time you asked me. No, doing great.
So, how are you doing, Phil?
Third time, yeah.
Third-
Doing even better than the other two times you asked me.
Awesome.
So.
Man, it was crazy last weekend. I was going to do an episode on Sunday, but I didn't get home till later because I was at the Goals Conference. That's the Gun Owners of America conference in Knoxville, and it was great. I met a lot of really cool people. I met a delegate from Virginia. That was really cool. He was telling some really cool stories and stuff, and it was really cool. And something weird. So I was sitting in the Fat Tack booth and we were talking. I'm not here to talk politics. I really don't care where you stand on which side. I don't really care. I don't like to talk about it because people get hurt either way. Either way you talk about it. So, but going into that to say is I was sitting in the Fat Tack booth and this lady came over with one of the other like representatives. There's a bunch of politicians there. And she sat down and I was like, oh, I'm Jason, blah, blah, blah. Because we had a couch in there and she was like tired. She's like, oh, I've been running over here all over the place. And so she was also really interested in Fat Tack. So she sat down and we started talking. I was like, oh, where are you from? And she's like, oh, I'm from Pennsylvania. I am the, I want to say, is it chief advisor, chief something of the Trump campaign? And I was like,
Oh, okay. In Pennsylvania,
that's crazy. I'm like sitting here talking to someone part of the Trump campaign that just okay, hey. It was just weird, But yeah, so that was the I guess the extent of the show. It was a lot of fun, met a lot of cool people, got a lot of free swag.
I was gonna say, what is your favorite piece of swag that you got?
Oh man, let's see. I have a box full, guys. See, this box is full.
Crazy.
You guys need to be watching on YouTube if you're not, because you're missing out. There's actually 2 on here that are really cool. I'm going to take those out of the package too. Okay, so these 2 are really cool and funny. So we have this one, which says, "Save a pup, abolish the ATF." Which I think is pretty funny. And then also this one's kind of funny too. It says, "Deer don't wear Kevlar vest."
Nice.
I don't know, where that came from, but it was funny.
I love it.
Yeah. So I gotta say something real quick before we get started. So I had made a post on Instagram. Oh yeah, let me real quick. The reason I didn't do a show last week was my daughter's birthday. I meant to record one on Wednesday since I didn't do one Sunday and put just the podcast out Thursday. But yeah, it was my daughter's birthday, and I didn't want to, take time away from her to record the podcast.
Yeah,
so I just
priorities.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if we skip an episode. I mean, it's all good. So I had made a post about having people come on the show to share testimonies. This was, gosh, a little over a week ago. Is right after we started Image of the Invisible, and I had someone reach out to me because I was at work and I did it really quick. I had my phone and I did this text to speech, and I posted it. And I didn't read it or anything, but the grammar was really bad. I guess with my redneck accent, it one of the words was like a different. It was the same word, but it was meant differently because the way it was spelled. It meant a different thing. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
I
Gotcha.
think I said when you accepted Christ, did you have a change in your life?
Yeah.
Except it was accepted as meaning
Or
like
expected.
expect. Yeah, it was like
I know what you mean.
it was like a really bad. It just I didn't think it was that bad. So we had someone. I don't know. I don't want to think that they blatantly attacked us, but it seemed like they were upset because our podcast has changed. That's what it felt like to me.
Mhm.
Not the fact that I made a misspelling. It was like, hey, it's like, and he thought it was you that made the post. So he's like, oh, I see Phil made this because look, it sounds like a kindergarten wrote it. I was like, where's all this hate coming from? And then he said something to the effect of, well, you can't talk about puckwudgies in Jesus or puckwudgies in the church and all this stuff. And I was like, what in the world? Where's this coming from? And I replied to him and I was like, dude, we only met you once. And where's all this hate coming from? Because, we were nothing but nice to you. I don't understand this, and today at church, the pastor asked us to open the Bible and, turn to whatever. So when I opened up my Bible app, this is the first thing that popped out. And I was like, whoa, okay. This is one of those verses that, that are always the people can refer to, but it was just weird because that was on my mind and this verse showed up. So this is John 15, verse 18. It says, if the world hates you, it hated me before it hated you. If you were of the world would love its own. Yet because you are not of the world, but you choose to be out of the world, therefore the world hates you. Saying, if you love God and live for God, then the world's going to hate you because you're not a part of it. So, I just thought that was just rang so true because, I haven't gotten a lot of hate mail or anything, but there will be people that listened that are not going to listen anymore because we've changed. But yeah, I just wanted to say that. So
Yeah, and then that can happen, man. And like you said, and the word does say that you will be persecuted for believing in Jesus. So you take it as a blessing because
yeah,
Jesus suffered. So now if you suffer for Jesus, that's not a bad thing. So
yeah,
but yeah, very very bizarre. Like you said, I don't understand that, but very very strange. But yeah, nothing but love for that person. I hope they they keep on listening and and I don't know what else to say. We'll be praying for you.
yeah. And also, if you have been hurt by the church, I totally get it. I've been there. I've left many churches because I've been treated badly. So I totally get it. Totally get it.
Yeah, absolutely. But we have a wonderful guest. Jason, why don't you introduce our wonderful guest tonight?
So this guest, you back whenever, I guess it was the second year of AFK, we had East Tennessee Bigfoot on, and Wendy was part of that group, and we didn't really get into her testimony. She kind of referenced to it a little bit. So I made a post saying, hey, if anybody has an awesome testimony, I want to talk to pastors, I want to talk to missionaries, blah, blah, blah. So Wendy reached out, and I'd like to welcome Wendy.
I'm sorry, I'm like zoning out. I'm just listening to you talk. Hold on, let's bring her center stage here.
Center stage.
There we go.
How's it going?
It's going. How's it going, you guys?
It's going pretty good. Just gosh, it's been crazy couple of weeks.
Yeah.
My daughter's birthday, the goals conference, and actually, guys, my birthday is tomorrow.
Oh wow.
Happy early birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
getting old. Getting old.
Nah.
I turn 48 tomorrow. That's crazy.
Well,
Time
you know,
flies.
age is just a number.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So
Yeah.
how's
yeah.
it going? Go ahead, Phil.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, thank you for coming on. We can't wait to hear your testimony. We don't want to take any more time away from you, so we'll just let you, be you're the star of the show. So you take it away wherever you want to take it.
Okay. Well, to start out with, I was, you guys were talking about being hurt by the church and stuff. Um, I, I have gifts, and these are gifts of the Holy Spirit that I have, and I've had these gifts since I can remember, and I've always seen things and heard things and had dreams and visions of things that's come to pass, and my family has always persecuted me for that and said that I was going to burn in hell for it, and that it was all of I shouldn't be doing that stuff, and I was condemned to hell for it. So I mean, I heard that from as far back as I can remember as a little girl. Even I heard that from my mother and everybody. Well, I went to church and stuff whenever I was younger. Whenever I was 12, I got I gave my life to the Lord, and I got baptized and stuff. And then, but the uneducation of people as followers really hurts those who are, in the beginning of giving their life to the Lord, because it can change their outlook on everything, and easily, because they're so new, it can make a person backslide or whatever. And that's exactly what happened to me, because I was, I gotten angry over something whenever I was like, 13, something like that. And an uncle of mine told me, he said, well, that was it. That you did it now. I mean, you've done it now. There's no coming back from that. You can't, you can't come back from that. You backslid, you're done. And I was like, what? It's that easy? I mean, because whenever I was baptized, whenever they took me down in the water, it was actually snowing and sleeting outside. And I was like, you guys got to baptize me today. I've got to have it done today. So whenever they did that, and I came up out of the water, I felt a wonderful peace that I had never felt before. And so whenever this uncle told me, that I backslid, that I couldn't come back from that, I thought, you're kidding me. That's it. I mean, that's all you got to do. And so I was always thinking, why is God always out to punish me and stuff? So, I mean, I took it and I thought, well, I don't know what else to do. So I went wild. I was a wild young, teenager. And then I got married, and I didn't really, I had kids and stuff, and I didn't really, I mean, I always felt the Lord, um, in things that I did and things that I said, and I saw, and I still had visions, and I still could see spirits and stuff, and I didn't understand that. And my mom was always telling me, you're not supposed to see that. You're condemned. So I mean, I always thought that, and I thought, well, what am I supposed to do with it then? So I took the gifts that I have, and I started, doing readings for people, and that's what I would call them, because I can see people, like, not all people. Some people I can see, and I can see things that they've done in the past, or I'll have flashes of things that's going to happen to them in the future. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I've helped police, find missing people. I look at their picture and I see what images I get out of that, and I see those things. Well, I was condemned for that. I've got a brother who's a preacher, and he was always, telling me, this is horrible things that you're doing. I can't believe that you're doing this. And so, I mean, I started doing readings for people, and I made really good money at that. I mean, because people would have parties or whatever, reading parties, and there'd be like 20 to 30 people at $20 a pop that would come in. And I mean, I'd make a good chunk of money. But the thing is whenever I would make that money, like say, I would be wore out. I mean, I would just be exhausted because whatever I was doing and whatever that is that I do, that gift that I have, it drains the energy out of me. And I was doing this for them, and it was getting to where they were calling me all hours of the night and day and asking me all these questions all the time. It was like they couldn't live their lives without me helping them make a decision. And I'm like, I can't do that. I can't live your life for you. You're going to have to, do this on your own. I can't be your everything. So I continued on doing that. And, but every time I would make money, something would break, you know, and something would take it and then some. And I was like, that's the Lord punishing me. I know that's what it is. He's punishing me for that, because I could feel it in my spirit that he didn't like me using it for that. He hated it, but I didn't know what else to do about that. And I was scared to open up the Bible because I was afraid of being condemned again, so I didn't really get into it. So I then got to where I started I would go into people's houses, and because I see spirits and stuff, and I hear spirits and stuff, and it's different how they all are. And I've got some stories about that too, about how they're different, how I see the spirits different. Like for instance, an ex of mine, he had a uh, friend that was a dispatcher where he worked, and um, his name was Bob. And Bob had a brother that was here, and they didn't have any other family in Tennessee. And he had listed my ex as an emergency contact for him. Well, one day he didn't show up for work, and they called my ex and said, "Hey, can you go check on him because you're his emergency contact?" Well, um, James, which is my ex, him and my son went over to Bob's house and found him dead. Well, due to him, for some reason, being his emergency contact or whatever, we had to go over there and we had to clean out the house. We had to, we were responsible for everything if we wanted to take over his remains or whatever. Well, one day I was going there to pick up a load of stuff, and I came up to the door, and he was in a trailer, this big trailer, and I came up to the door and I could hear something moving around like boxes or whatever. And just to give you like a layout of the space, it was, you go in the door, you take a right, the first room to your left was Bob's office, then you go straight down, and at the end is his bedroom, and then you take a left, you go through the living room into the kitchen, and then there was his brother's Richard's room. Well, I could hear boxes moving in Bob's room, and we couldn't figure out any family members or anything for Bob. Just to give you like a little history on that, nobody could find any relatives. So I go in and I go to that room, and I don't see anything there. I don't hear anything anymore. And I'm like, okay, well, that's odd. So I yelled at James, and I said, where are you at? And he said, I'm back here in Richard's room. And I said, okay, well, I thought I heard you over here in Bob's office. And he said, no, I wasn't there. Haven't been over there yet. And I said, okay. So I went back there where he was at, and I could hear those boxes moving again. And so I go back over there to Bob's room, and I walk in, and there's Bob. Because with me, this is another thing too, and I'm still confused on what these spirits actually are, whether or not they are, whatever, demonic, pretending to be who they say they are. or whatever, I just know the difference in them as far as what they look like, what they feel like. But everything else, I'm still trying to determine exactly what that is. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I walk in his office, and and I meant to say, everybody has their own spirit. Okay. God knitted us in the womb, and he gave each one of us our own individual spirit, just like our fingerprints. Nobody else is like us. We're all individual. So that spirit that somebody has in them, I get a feeling off of that person whenever they're alive, and I can feel their spirit and I can feel their energy. And whenever they pass, I can feel that same presence at times. And I can feel that it's like their own fingerprint, their own everything, smell, everything. And so whenever I came into that room, I saw Bob. I felt Bob. I didn't see him as I see, everybody every day today. It was kind of like, to describe, I guess, him would be like, the movie Predator, where that alien looking thing is in like water form or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
can see through him. That's what Bob looked like. And I was like, oh, well, okay, hi, Bob. And I was, and and it was Bob. So I I didn't see the boxes or anything moving around, but he was still standing there. And Bob was really, really, small man. And he pointed up in the closet, in the top of the closet. And I looked up in the top of the closet, and there was a box up there. Well, I turned around. James had yelled at me to come over there for something, and I turned around to go out the door, and that box fell out of the top of the closet. Well, I went back in there, saw the box fell, and I thought, okay, maybe there's something in that. I'll come back and I'll look in a minute. Well, whenever I got back to the room, there was this photo album that was laying on top of the box, and it was open, and there was this picture of this woman there, and it was, come to find out, it was Bob's sister. She was in the military. So we were able to find Bob's sister and get her to come and, take care of his things and all that. Well, after I started bringing, or after people started bringing me into their house and stuff, because I would come into their house before they would buy houses and stuff, and I would see if I felt anything, if there was any presence there, whatever. And back then, I would cleanse the house with like sage and stuff like that, go through the house and all that. I never did say the Lord's Prayer or anything like that through the house. It was all just with sage and all this stuff, right? So I went over to a friend of mine's house. She wanted me to come over there and visit. She lives up at her, okay, I don't know if you guys know Tennessee area, but in I think it's Maryville,
Okay.
that there is a road that's got like 13 curves on it. Well, a friend of mine, her great great grandfather built this old house, and I will always refer to it as the house at the end of the 13 curves because it's supposed to be haunted. Well, she got me over there one day, and her and a friend of mine, Diane, she's now passed away. We all went over there one day because she wanted to see what I would feel whenever I went into the house. So I went into the house, and I mean, it would really take your breath away, the energy in this house. And there was, carvings on the walls and stuff, and there was a cistern inside the house in the kitchen. And I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you guys probably know what that is. It's like an indoor well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I was holding my cell phone up above it, just taking pictures, because I couldn't hold my head over the well or whatever without getting very nauseous. So I was just holding my camera up there taking pictures. Well, I brought the pictures home, and there was faces in these pictures. And my my son said, "Mom, do you see that?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm really shocked that I got that in these pictures, but it's this angry expression on this person's face, and it just goes around and around in circles." Well, you can't see it with just, I couldn't see it just looking over it, but I could see it in the pictures. Well, and I know I'm telling you all this stuff to get somewhere. Well, something came out and followed me from that, and there's a came into my house and was torturing my youngest son, and he got very depressed, and it it went on for like 6 months. He kept dreaming about death, having bad, thoughts about death and everything. And I went through my house with sage and everything, and nothing worked. And I contacted my brother, the preacher, and I said, "What do you think about Satan?" And he said, "Well, I mean, I said, do you really think Satan's a real thing? Do you really think he's real?" And he said, "Well, I mean, and it says in the Bible that he comes to and fro throughout the earth. He can come and go throughout the earth." And I was like, "Okay." So I really still didn't understand, because he always laughed at me, and said, "Yeah, whatever, there's no, spirits or anything like that." And I was like, "Tim, I just don't understand how you can believe in the Holy Spirit, but not believe in demons or, you know, presence that's on this earth that move to and fro throughout this earth. And Jesus himself cast demons out all the time. I mean, that's a lot of what he did, and a lot of the sickness and stuff that people have, you know, could possibly be demonic
Mhm.
attacks,
Mhm.
Mhm. Absolutely.
and people don't understand that. Well, I got to where um, spirits were coming to me regularly, and I ended up having this period of where all these famous people were coming to me. And the very first one that came to me was Anna Nicole Smith.
Hmm.
And I was at work, and I did not like her. I didn't like women that did that exploited themselves like that,
Mhm.
sexually like that, because I'm real big on women respecting themselves and girls growing up to respect themselves and everything. So I was at work, and I was like, whatever, I don't care if she passed out, died, whatever, it's no big deal to me. I didn't uh, really show the Lord's love then, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, um, she haunted me. I came home that night. I don't remember coming home that night after I saw that she collapsed or anything. I don't remember it. But I did have a dream that night, that I was looking out my bedroom window down over the neighbor's yard, and I'm like one of the highest houses up in my neighborhood, and I was looking down, and she was laying in this brass bed with this big red bow in the back of her hair, and she had a blanket pulled up around her neck, and she was just bawling and crying, "Look what he's done to us." And I was like, I don't know what she's talking about. Well, it flipped over into this other part of this dream, and she was wearing this very long slinky gown that looked like snakeskin, and it was slit all the way up to her hip, and she came over and started tattooing herself onto me from my neck, my collarbone, all the way down the side of my body. And I was pushing her away, telling her to get off me. What did she think she was doing? But she was tattooing her image onto me. Well, for the next 2 to 3 years, I was harassed by this woman. I mean, constantly, day and night. So she had me reach out to her family, friends. I spoke with this one regularly. He was a designer of hers. He's on her show, that Anna Nicole Smith show. He's on that. She calls him Frankie. And he um, he would call me all the time, and he would say, he would ask me questions. He would say, "It's just like talking to Anna directly. It's just like talking to her," because I would answer questions. And what he said, "Just tell me," because I didn't know exactly what was going on, because I'd never had a spirit attack me like this, or talk to me like this, because it was like her thoughts were my thoughts, sort of. It was really weird. So she was very strong, and So I found him on YouTube. I was looking on YouTube and she had his videos and stuff scroll up, and she showed me how to get in touch with him and everything, and I did. And he said, tell me exactly what it is that you're seeing, because I want to test. I want to test you and see what you know. And I said, okay. So I said, well, I said, she's showing me this picture of you and three other women, and she's holding this big yellow platter looking thing with a chocolate cake in the center of it. And he was like, that's really amazing, because that's Anna's plate. And I said, well, I don't know what you're talking about. And he said, Anna made that cake for me for my birthday. And those three women are my mother and my two sisters that's there with us. And he said, and now that Anna's passed away, my mother holds that plate on her table and will not let anybody touch it. And she calls it, that's Anna's plate. Nobody's allowed to touch it. And he said, so can you tell me some more things? Let me see. And I said, yeah. I said, she is showing me this. You're going into this house, and like I'm standing in the doorway, and you look to the left, and there's like this bar that you can eat at, and then the kitchen, and then you look to the right, and there's the living room, and there's some furniture in there that's kind of looks like 70s type furniture that's leather. It doesn't have a skirt, but it's got those wooden legs on it. And there's a chair and a love seat and a couch there. And she's showing me a photo album laying open on the couch. And it's like one of those photo albums that women have made that's got all the lace and stuff all over it that they used to make like in the 80s for like wedding albums or whatever. And she said, tell Frankie to look at my hair, that my hair is in braids. And of course, all this time she's cussing like a sailor. And I did it at the same time. And I'm hearing all this. So I'm talking exactly like she's talking to me to Frankie, and he's blown away with it. And he said, I still don't know what she's talking about. And I said, she says that her hair is in bleepity bleep braids, and for you need to turn around and look. So he turned around and he gasped all of a sudden. And he said, he said, I'm really freaked out right now. He said, because either this is really happening or you're spying on me in my bedroom. And I said, dude, I'm in Tennessee. I mean, you can look at my location or whatever you want to look at. I'm in Tennessee. And I said, what is it that you see? And he said, I've got this great big picture of Anna that she autographed to me. And it's got a Polaroid picture on the outside of the frame, sticking out in the frame there on the outside of the glass. And it's a picture of Anna and him, and she's standing there, and her hair's all in braids, and behind them is that couch with that photo album sitting open on the couch in that picture. So from that point on, I mean, he would call me all hours of the day, all hours. I mean, we were constant. He was talking to me about coming out to California. And I was going to come out to California, and he wanted me to be like a psychic to the stars type person. Well, I was like, I was all gung ho for it. I was like, okay, fine, because I started having all these spirits come to me, all these famous people coming to me. And I kept a journal of who these people were and, what they were saying to me. I had no idea who some of these people were, because I'm more of a movie fanatic. I love music, but I don't know the names of musicians and stuff. But like, say, for instance, Muddy Waters came to me, and I was like, I have no idea who that is. And my ex, he was, into that kind of stuff. And he said, Muddy Waters is a blues singer. And I said, well, I have no idea. But he's telling me that his friend Etta James, whoever that is going to die before her birthday. And so I wrote down the date and everything just to test it, to see exactly, if I was losing it or whatever. And so I wrote down the date, and that's the date that she died. It was really creepy. There was other ones that came to me, like Kurt Cobain. He came to me. There's a whole other thing on that. And then there was a long list of them, like Brian, what was his last name? He was in the Rolling Stones or something. A bunch of them was coming to me. And even and they were kind of linked together too somehow. They were linked to each other. Like Jay Sebring, I don't know if you guys know who he is, but he came to me. He was actually the friend of Sharon Tate. Do you know who Sharon Tate
Mhm.
is?
Yeah.
Okay. He was there with Sharon Tate that night that she was, right before, he was murdered with her. And he came to me. Sharon Tate came to me. I didn't know who these people were either. I had to look up all this stuff. And actually, Jay Sebring was the hairdresser for Jim Morrison from The Doors. And Jim Morrison actually was the very last one that came to me. And Jim, he kind of took precedent over Anna. I mean, it wasn't only just Anna. It was like Marilyn Monroe, Elvis Presley, all these. Uh, what's that? I can't remember his name. Um, oh my God, his son came to me, and I read John Travolta's son. That's his name. What's his son's name? I can't remember. He came to me. Uh, what was it?
I don't know. I don't know his
Me
name.
neither.
Anyway, he came to me too, trying to get me to reach out to John Travolta to tell him some things. But Jim Morrison was the last one to came out, and I reached out to John Densmore and all them for him, and I talked to Manzarek, the organ player. I talked to him, and Jim was telling me to tell. And this is another thing. I didn't know what to say before they told me to say it. So the things that they were relaying to me, it was so weird because I mean, it was things that they were saying that I could have never ever known. That it was personal things. And my ex too started questioning me. He was like, I think maybe you're schizophrenic. I think something's wrong with you. And I'm like, maybe you're right. I mean, heck, I don't know. So I went to, all these doctors and stuff and got them to check me out for everything. And they're like, there is nothing wrong with you. We've checked you for everything. Your insurance is not going to pay for anything else. You're going to be paying it out of pocket. And I said, well, I just need to verify, what I'm feeling and stuff. So, but anyway, Jim Morrison he became a really good friend to me. And he was very, very intelligent. He taught me something and I applied it to the Bible, and it really made me totally look at things differently. Jim taught me to unlearn everything that I've been taught and then relearn it for myself. Well, I took that principle and I applied it to the Bible, and I untaught myself everything that everybody else taught me, and I allowed the Holy Spirit to teach me over. And I read the Bible and everything over because I am always questioning, why do I see these things? Why do I have these gifts? What am I supposed to do with them? So I was getting ready just to, take off and go to California with my youngest son, and my mother was freaking out, I can't believe you're going to be doing that. You're going to go work for Satan and all this. And, and I was like, well, I don't know what else to do with it, Mom, because everybody's always told me that I'm condemned for it. So, I mean, if I'm condemned for it, I'm going to make some money off of it. What else am I supposed to do? So, I was, gung ho. Well, one day I was at work and this woman come up to me, and she was always walking around the office and she was always saying shalom to everybody. And I was like, she's weird. Something's wrong with her. Something, I don't even know what that means. Why are you saying that to me? So she came up to me and she said, here, I'm going to give you this little stained glass angel. It was a little angel. It had 4 little bells hanging from it. And she said, God told me to give you this. And I said, oh, excuse me. I said, well, that's beautiful. Thank you. And she said, I had it hanging from my rear view mirror. And I said, oh, okay, well, that's cool. So I went home and I came to the house and I found some other things that I'd never heard Jim sing before, and I was downloading it, and I was like, tomorrow I'm going to have a great day. Oh, before this, I kept having visions that I was going to wreck my car on Alcoa Highway. And I couldn't figure out exactly what was going to happen. Oh, and way before this too. I was aggravated. I was having a fight with my ex, and I was still paying on my car, so I couldn't, like split up or whatever. We wasn't married, and I went downstairs and I was outside my car in my carport, and this was April 27th, 2011, and I said, all you spirits, I'm always helping y'all out. Why don't you help me out? Why don't y'all help me pay off my bleepity bleep car so I can leave him, because I can't stand to be with this guy anymore. Well, it was like 10 seconds later, and the skies they just went completely black. And then all those tornadoes and stuff hit the south, and it destroyed a bunch of stuff. All the storms destroyed a bunch of stuff around my house, destroyed my pool out back, and all this stuff. Well, I filed insurance, got everything fixed. And with the money that I had left over from that insurance claim, I paid off my car, all within a month of me saying that. So I was like, hey, that's great. I've prayed to God for so many years over so many things, and I've never gotten an answer that quick. So after, all that, I was having that, vision of me, wrecking my car. And I was at work that day, and that girl brought me that little angel, and I came home that night, and I was saying, tomorrow I'm going to be able to go to work, listen to some new stuff, new jams or whatever. So I get in the car, and something tells me to hang that angel from my rearview mirror. So I did. And I'm going down Alcoa Highway, I was coming up near John Sevier exit, and traffic was stopped over the top of the hill. So I came up over the top of the hill, and I was in a 5-car pileup on Alcoa Highway, and I was right in the center of it. And the whole time I was inside the car, it was morning, and the sun was up. But while I was inside the car, everything went black, and I couldn't see out the windows or anything. And the inside of the car lit up really, really bright, like a really, really bright light, but it didn't hurt my eyes. And all I could feel was like I was sitting inside a bubble, and I was saying, oh, Jesus, oh, Jesus, oh, Jesus, because I could see, I could hear the tires from the big truck coming to hit me, and it was, woo, 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 coming at me. And I got hit by a Jeep, and it slung it over the hillside. And then I got hit by a King Cab truck doing 75. And I was in a little bitty Hyundai Excel. And whenever I got out, my car was all squished up from the front to the back. And everybody was like, oh, my God, man, look at your car. It looks like an accordion. And I said, I know. I said, and look, I said, and they said, it looks like it's bowed up like it's a bubble. And I said, I know. It's kind of weird, because I was sitting in there and I felt like I was being protected, like I was in a bubble. None of the airbags deployed. I had 6 of them in the car. Not one of them deployed. My windows did not break, didn't even crack, but they were bowed. It was very strange. So after that, I was like, okay, first of all, before I got in the wreck, I forgot this part, and this is a very, very important part. I was coming down Alcoa Highway, and I was talking to Jim. Jim was in the passenger side seat, and I was saying, Jim, man, I've never gotten an answer to a prayer like that so quick. I said, you are so wonderful to me. You answered, you answered what I needed. You got me what I needed and everything. I said, you're so great, man. I just love you so much. I said, so from now on, I'm not going to go that route anymore. I'm not going to pray to God anymore. This is what I'm going to do. And I felt God reach down inside my stomach, and he jerked my stomach, and he said, I did not give you those gifts for that. You're not going to do that anymore. That's it. That is it. And like 10 seconds later, I was in that 5-car pileup on Alcoa Highway. Well, after that, I was like, okay, God, you need to tell me then. What am I supposed to do with this? And so he started showing me things. He started showing me, I was in the bathroom, and this was after the accident, and I was in the bathroom, and I was standing there and I was talking. I was asking him, you need to show me exactly what I'm supposed to do with this then. And the bathroom lit up like that bright light that was inside the car. It lit up like a beam coming over my head, and I could see my shadow and everything on the floor. And I thought I was freaking out. I thought something's wrong with me. I got hit in the head or something, an accident. I don't even remember it. And but a peace fell over me while I could feel that, and it was just like that peace that I felt whenever I come up out of the water. And then it was broken by my ex sitting in the living room, and he was cussing at the TV. So I come out of the bathroom and I come into the living room, and I'm like, "What is your problem?" And he said, "I cannot get this stupid remote to change this channel." And it was stuck on the Christian Broadcasting Network.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
there was a scroll going across the bottom of the screen. And it says, "I have given you these gifts to edify the body of Christ." And I said, "Whoa, wait a minute. What? What do you mean by that? What does that mean? What is that? What do you mean by that?" And so after that, my life changed dramatically. I gave my life to the Lord. I told him, I said, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to use this for this anymore. But you still need to explain to me exactly what I'm supposed to use these for, because I can't turn it off. And I told him, I said, God, please, if you don't want me to see these things and hear these things and stuff, please take them from me. I don't want them. If I'm possessed, if something's wrong with me, if I got a spirit or something, take it away from me. And but that's what he showed me. And so I've had dreams of casting out demons and stuff, and casting them out in the name of Jesus and stuff like that, for years and years. And I'm like, well, I'm still kind of scared about, stuff. I don't really totally understand exactly what you want me to do with it. Well, then he told me, he said, the Lord's voice started coming really, really clear from that point on. I mean, really, really clear to me, because I would ask a question and I would open the Bible and he would show me that day exactly what my answer was supposed to be. And he showed me too, he said, I want you out of this relationship before your 40th birthday. I want you out. That's what God told me. He said, I want you to leave everything, the house, everything. I want you to leave it all. And I said, okay. So I told my ex, I said, I'm moving out, this coming up Saturday or whatever. And he said, on this day I'm moving out. It's before my 40th birthday. And he said, whoa, wait a minute. What do you mean? And I said, I'm moving out. I said, the Lord told me to move out, because he made fun of me all the time. Because this was July of 2013, because I had that accident on September the 29th of 2011. Well, by 2013, I had been, studying and trying to figure out exactly what the Lord wanted me to see and stuff. Well, he told me at that point, he said, I want you out. And he said, and if you abide in me and you step out of the boat into the deep water, I'm telling you now, if you abide in me, I will not let you sink. So I said, okay, so I'll trust you. So I told my ex, I've got to be out on this date. And he was mad and he raged the whole time. Couldn't believe, because we'd been together for like 18 years or something. And I was like, he said, go be with your God then, if that's what you want. Go be with your God. And I said, okay, I will. That's fine. I said, because you know what it says in the Bible? It says, whatever makes you stumble, you cut it off, because you'd rather enter into the kingdom of heaven
Mhm.
lame than you would,
Yep.
be denied that. So I said, okay, then you're going to make me stumble. I'll cut you off. Fine. That's fine. So I moved out. That weekend, I turned 40 on that following Monday, and I was out. It was rough. It was really, really rough, because, I'm a single mother. And, but I tell you what, he has never let me sink, no matter how broke I got. And I'm talking so broke that I didn't know exactly where I was going to get my son's next meal. Somewhere, somehow, he would come through for me. Always. I went to work one day and this woman that I barely knew came up to me and she handed me an envelope and I said, and I never talked about my problems or anything like that. I would talk to people about the Lord and how important it is to know him and how important it is to uh, show love that he gives to us, because that's one thing that always ran me away was I was not taught the love of God. I was always taught the wrath. I wasn't taught the
Mhm.
love.
Yep.
And he really, really loves each one of us. He loves us, individually. We're very special to him. We're more special than any kind of jewel that has ever been created. We're that special to him. We're important to him. And each one of us have a goal, that we're supposed to reach. We're supposed to do for the kingdom of God. We're supposed to do these things. And he gives each one of us a talent, each one of us something that we can contribute. And it's just amazing the journey that he can take you on, totally change your life. Totally. I have, my life has totally changed so much that, I mean, I look at who I was like, 10 years ago, because my favorite word was the F bomb, and that's what everybody referred me to. I'm embarrassed to say that, but, everybody, that knew me would be like, the girl that says the F bomb a lot, that was me. And, and I mean, it's not, I'm not saying that I'm perfect or anything, but, and who is, because nobody is totally perfect. If they were, we wouldn't need Jesus, right?
Yep.
I
That's
Mhm.
mean,
right.
Jesus was sent here so that, we could live life more abundantly. If we believe in him, that we can live life more abundantly. But he totally came up to me and he totally changed my life. And that peace that I felt, that I searched for years and years and years to get that peace back, I finally found it in Jesus. Because no matter what, if you keeping your eyes straight on the Lord, like, whenever Peter come out of the boat and he kept his
Mhm.
eyes straight on Jesus and he started looking at the chaos around him and he started to sink, that's what the Lord says to us. Like right now, we are in chaos all around us in this world. And that's the one way that we can keep our focus and keep our sanity about us, is that we're supposed to keep our eyes on the Lord. And we've got to be vigilant, yes, and pay attention to exactly what's going on in our lives around us, because there's a lot of evil that's taken over this planet. And in the end of days, it does say that it will be this way and that it will be even worse than this. And I've asked the Lord exactly, why do you have me here? And he shows me the same thing every single time. And it looks like a field of Armageddon. And on one side, it's all evil on one side coming against all good on the other. And I'm standing in the center of it. And what I get out of that is I'm supposed to be here to shine my light for other people so that they may know the truth of who Jesus is, and to show them proof of the gifts that he has given us, and to show confirmation of the Holy Spirit.
Mhm.
Because, people are blessed through other people doing what the Lord wants you to do.
Mhm.
That's how he gives you your blessings, is working through people. Faith without works is dead, they say,
Mhm.
and also talking about, church and stuff. I have, I haven't been, I've been to church maybe one time since that journey, since that day, since 2011. And the only reason is because whenever I started looking into the Bible and I started looking at how everything is supposed to be done, we're not supposed to be, uh, doing all these, like, I mean, we're really not supposed to be celebrating Christmas because it's mixed with pagan rituals, and we're supposed to be having the feast days still. I mean, we're
Mhm.
supposed to be doing everything the way God has it put forth in the Bible. And I always felt like that God wanted me to bring it back to the root, you know, and that's the reason why I think everybody really needs to learn things from the Bible, and they really need to stop looking at tradition too. I think that a lot of people take tradition a little bit too far, and they need to really be paying attention to what God wants them to do.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like you guys saying, yeah, that spirits and stuff, you felt like things were starting to go downhill and stuff because y'all were checking into that stuff. Those spirits will follow you and they will attach themselves to you. And whenever spirits attach themselves to me, I can always tell because my head starts hurting really bad. I start feeling heavy through my shoulders and stuff. And it's like they will attack you. They will sit on you and they will suck the energy completely out of you. And they make your environment in your household, it will make it to where it is thick as pea soup, the tension as you walk in the door and stuff. But the way I found the best way to bless my house is to walk through it and say the Lord's Prayer throughout it and cast anything out of my house that don't belong here, that is not of the Holy Spirit. I cast it out. Because if you don't do that regularly, and it's like spirits attach themselves to me because they've told me before that I'm like a beacon in the light. I'm like a beacon of light in the darkness, and they're like moths to a flame. And they can see that I see the things that I do, and so they like to attach themselves to me. And like John from he's on YouTube. He does that Exploration Unknown.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yep.
he does that
Yep.
podcast.
Mhm.
Yeah, John's wanted me to go to that house, a couple of times since then, because I told him about that house and stuff, and he wants me to go there. That one that has the cistern in it,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm scared to do that kind of stuff, because those spirits will attach themselves to you, and it'll bring your whole world down,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll use you, in ways that is not good, and they'll make everything around you start to crumble.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I've rambled
Oh,
on.
no, that's fine.
No, you're good.
I want to add to that because something I haven't even talked to Phil about this yet. I was talking to my wife, and remember before we went on the air, I was talking about I felt like after Elkmont, things, at least for me, seemed different. So I believe, God protects you. You have a hedge of protection around you from, he'll keep you and stuff. But I don't know. It just, everything started going bad, like real bad. Like, so we went to Elkmont. When was that, Phil? Was that in September, October?
November.
Was it in November? Oh,
November. Yep.
gosh. Okay. So went to Elkmont in November. I didn't realize how soon that was, but also November I got laid off from my job.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then a few months later, they told my wife that they're going to close her office and sell their portfolio, so they're going to lay off all the people in her department. Just like everything bad was just compounding. I did find an awesome church I started going to though. So that's something good that happened in between all this. But yeah, it's just like everything that could go wrong was going wrong, we lost all of our health insurance. I mean, it was bad, but I have a new job now, which is way better than my old job, which is awesome. But like Phil and I, Phil went through some stuff also recently. I don't know if you've listened to the show, but Phil went through a bunch of stuff. He was going to the Huckamuck Swamp. He was going to do this month challenge where he went there every single day. And then it just hit him really hard. Like I would say it was spiritual oppression. And then I was at church, I guess a couple of weeks after that, and I felt God say, and the people that say, oh, how do you God talk to you and stuff? Well, God does talk to you.
Yes, he
Just
does.
like, I mean, if you believe that a spirit can talk to you, God can
Mm-hmm.
talk to you also.
Yeah, definitely.
But I heard him say, you need to give up AFK discussions. And I was like, what? I don't, what? And I I gave it up, and I was not going to do any more podcasting. And then he was like, well, I didn't call you to do what you're doing now. I called you to be about me. So that's when I talked to Phil, and I was like, look, we got to change everything. And so we, changed the name to Image of the Invisible, which is something that I really, there's a song by a band called Thrice, and it's called The Image of the Invisible. That's where the name came from. But it's such a powerful song because it says we're more than carbon and chemicals, meaning like our bodies are more than just carbon and chemical pile together. Is we are the image of the invisible. We, made in the image of God.
Hmm.
And that's the whole name of, the podcast of, we're a likeness of God, and we need to, show his light to other people. But yeah, so that's what got us here to the new podcast. But yeah, I mean, your testimony is awesome. That I didn't know any of that. That's really
Okay.
enjoyable.
I didn't
So
know
I
if I
do.
had mentioned it, but yeah, I've got a lot of stuff that's I've been from one end of the spectrum to the other.
Mhm.
It's a it's a big change, but you were saying, people say, well, oh my gosh, God's talking to you, you must be nuts. But
Yeah.
I mean, if they really would open up their Bible and see that in Jeremiah it says that he will write his law upon their hearts,
Mhm.
that's what that is. And people, all these people that are searching and doing all this stuff to search, and they go through relationship after relationship, or they go through gambling, or they go through all these things, their addictions and stuff, but the one thing that they're missing is God, more than likely, because he leaves that little space in your heart for him, and only he can fill it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you will not ever feel whole until you have that. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't understand that. And also, a lot of people don't take it physically either, because, they say, if you just, you say this prayer, you're good to go. No, that's
Mm.
not it. I mean, you have to actually believe that Jesus is the Christ.
Yeah.
You have to believe that he is the Son of God. You have to believe all this stuff, and receive him, because in the Bible it talks about these, the
Mm-hmm.
ritual that you had to go through, to be able to offer the lamb up.
Mhm.
It's a whole thing, and people don't understand exactly that Jesus took care of all of that.
Mhm.
He took place of all of that, but you
Yeah.
have to actually believe it, and that spirit is real. The Holy Spirit is God. It's real,
Yeah.
and people need to understand that, and not just take it so lightly, because it's not a very light subject.
No, not at all.
And people like to either just constantly preaching to their same congregation about hell and damnation, but they never teach them about the true love of God. And that's
Mhm.
that's another thing people need to understand is God loves them, and he will talk to them. He will speak to your spirit. He will speak to your heart. That's your conscience. And
Mm-hmm.
people are saying, it's it just blows my mind how many people, because I used to hold a lot of people that I thought were Christians before, that you know were like, almighty, better than thou, and all
Yeah.
this. And I look at now and I think, wow, you probably need to get to the altar, and really need to get to the real altar. You really need to go, spend some time with the Lord, the actual Jesus,
Yeah.
and
Definitely.
not just what you see in that book. Because people can read the Bible, and I mean, there's people out there that can memorize every word of it. I mean, Satan knows it better than we do.
Yes.
That,
And
that's true.
so, I mean, people really need to take it more seriously than what they are, because we are in the end of days, and he
Mm.
showed me a lot about that. And I've got a lot of stuff I could tell you about that because he took me on a journey of studying, you know, the end of days and stuff and showing me visions and stuff. I was going on YouTube and putting these visions on there, things that he was showing me that came to pass and that are still come to pass. And that to me, those are things that God himself showed me because they were proven to be true, and I've had, a minister come up to me before and say, you do realize that you're a prophetess, right? And I said, don't call me that. I said, I'm scared of that. Don't call me that. I mean, I'm not up to par or whatever to be called something like that. And they said, well, you know how I know that that's what you are? And I said, no, I don't understand how you know that. And she says, well, in the Bible, it said that you will know if they are real or not, because if the Holy Spirit tells you that this is going to happen and it comes to pass, then you will know that they are a prophet or a prophetess, because everybody that always told me anything about the Bible before told me that I was condemned. And then God showed me in the book of Acts, I think it's chapter 2, verse 18, where it says, or maybe 17, in the end of days, I will pour out my spirit onto all flesh, and my sons and my daughters will prophesy, and my old men will dream dreams
Yep.
and have
Yep. Yep.
visions.
Yep.
That is speaking of today. That's speaking of right now,
Yeah.
and I've asked my mother that, and my brother, I've asked them all that. Now, how can you sit there and condemn me for these things when he says plainly right there that he will give these gifts to people?
Mm-hmm.
And I can't help that he's given me these gifts. So don't condemn me for it. But, you were talking earlier about how people will, come against you and everything. And in the Bible, it does say, Jesus does say that, if you're persecuted, know that they persecuted me first,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
that's what they will do. They will do whatever they can to get you off the path that God needs you on. Because it's a struggle every single day for me, every single day. Because I know that Satan is, it's a battlefield of the mind, and
That's
that's
right.
where Satan gets you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Definitely.
Because he can put thoughts in your mind, but also the words that you speak are very important. Because God spoke everything into existence, and it says that in the Bible to be careful about what you speak, because you're speaking things out there, and not, there's a lot of spirits and a lot of principalities and power that hear you say these things. And if you say all the time that you're sick, or this is going to happen, or that's going to happen, and you're saying it, foolishly out of your mouth and not paying attention to what you're saying, more than likely those things are going to happen, because Satan's sitting there listening to everything you're saying, everything that you're telling him right there. You're giving him the fruit right there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
but yeah, I got a lot of other things to, to say about all that if y'all ever wanted to have me back on, because
Yeah,
yeah.
it would
definitely.
take up hours.
Yeah, for sure. We'll definitely have you back on for that, for sure. So I do have one question for you. So would you consider now what your gift is would be prophesying and having dreams and that sort of thing? Is that where you think the Holy Spirit is leading you, or like how does that manifest itself nowadays as far as your
I'm
gifts?
not, I mean, I've got, I don't know what it would be called, or how it be categorized, because there's so many things, that in the gifts that I have, there's so many different things, and I don't know if I'm supposed to be able to, you know, I don't know how to describe it, because is it a prophetess? Would a prophetess be able to see things in people's spirits? Would they be able to see,
Mm.
you know, things? Well, I mean, I guess I don't know,
Yeah, it could be
because
multiple gifts, like the power of discernment and that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. And
I was
yeah,
thinking discernment of
yeah,
spirits is
yeah. That is a spiritual gift too. So you might just have multiple, which people can have multiple
Mhm.
spiritual gifts because it says in the word that he will give them according to the Holy Spirit's will. So it depends on what the Holy Spirit wants. So if you're having these things happen, then yeah, that's probably multiple spiritual gifts. That's why it's like that. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely interesting. That's why I wanted to ask, because I was just interested.
Yeah, because
How it is nowadays for you.
yeah, I mean it's still the same. I mean I still see spirits. I still um and my husband, because I ended up getting married in 2018. He would kill me right now if he knew that I was guessing myself to what the date was. I forget all the time. But he said that he's never seen anything like it. He moved into my house here. But and that's another thing. He told me to leave everything. How in the Bible it says that you give everything up for God, He will replace
Mhm.
everything. Yeah, he gave me my house back and everything.
Oh
Um,
wow, that's awesome.
and I was not expecting that. I'd left everything for him, and he gave it
Mhm.
all back, everything. And that's amazing to me that, because I never expected to see my house again. I was like, whatever, I'm good. So didn't matter to me if I was under a bridge, just as long as I was with him. That's all I needed.
Yeah,
But
that's right.
yeah, yeah, I still see things, and um, but my husband, he he says he sees so many things here in this house, and I know that it's got to be demonic
Mm,
or
mhm, mhm.
something. I don't know what, because I never really studied demonology, or I never
Yeah.
studied angels or anything like that. Like,
Mhm.
I just now started to look into anything like that, because I'm still learning. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what all these things are, and why I feel like a lot of these things are sort of a curse to me, because I can't live a daily life without wondering if a thought that comes into my head is
Mhm,
a
mhm.
premonition
Mhm.
or not,
Right.
or whether or not it's just Satan messing with me, because he
Mhm.
does that a lot. You
Mhm.
know, he puts images in my head, and I'm like, once I realize that it's him, I'm like, I don't receive that, Satan, leave me alone. And he flees. He goes, and those thoughts leave my head. But he will really attack your mind really bad.
Mhm. Yeah.
Mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely, and especially if you have spiritual gifts like that, for sure.
Yeah. And I had
Yeah.
no idea that that it was worse, because of that,
Mhm.
until like a year ago. I started seeing, hey, maybe it is because this, because that's what
Yeah.
he's doing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He's
Yep.
trying to use them against me.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Well, yeah. Well, it's nice to see though that you're going this route. It's really cool that you're going this route. I mean, I still see, like, the Bigfoot. I
Mhm.
still, I still see stuff like that, and uh, I think that they've got to be like a Nephilim type thing,
Yeah.
because
Mm.
the things that I hear from them and see. And my husband and I were hiking in Pogue Creek in Jamestown, Tennessee, not too long ago, and I saw something out of the corner of my eye, and I got it on video, and I promise you, I think it's a dog man. I really do. It looks like one, and we've got many pictures of things, and I think, why do I see this stuff?
Yeah.
Why does it always follow me? And uh, Matt, he's the founder of East Tennessee Bigfoot. And he said,
Mhm.
he tells me, he says, I'm a magnet for them. And I think that the reason why that is because I am for all the other spirits too.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And that
Mhm.
these things are demonic. I don't
Yeah.
know, you know? So,
I really think that, the closer we get to the end times, because I think,
oh, yeah.
we're pretty close, that the veil between the world, the worlds, the spiritual and the physical, is thinning. And
Yes.
especially with your gifts, like, because I believe that, like, these dogman creatures and these, Bigfoot or whatever, they're interdimensional, and they do come through
Yes.
to our dimension. And so you're probably seeing through that thinning of the veil where you're seeing all this. So
Right.
yeah.
And with CERN, they're doing, I don't know if you guys know about that, where they're using this uh uh the colada
Yeah,
hex.
they're looking for the Higgs boson
Yes,
particle, but yeah, the particle accelerator that
Oh yeah.
yes.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
they said that even those scientists, that don't believe in spirits and stuff, even they said that whenever they cranked it up, that there were spiritual beings coming through that.
Yep. Yep.
And it does say in the end of days, it does say in the Bible that those things will happen. And like the Euphrates River will
Yeah.
dry up and all these
Oh yeah.
prophecies that are coming to pass and demons will come up through that, and people really don't understand, because everything''s wicked right now.
It is.
It's kind of like slaughter of the innocents because there's so many people that's killing their own children and stuff.
Oh,
It's
I
just
know.
horrid.
Gosh,
It's horrid.
I said I wasn't going to get political at the beginning, but gosh, it was so heart-wrenching. The Democratic National Convention where they had the mobile abortion clinic there, like as part of their thing. That's just heart-wrenching to me. My kids are adopted.
They did?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. They had that. They were doing if they were doing abortions, and also I think they were doing
Real abortion?
yeah, sterilization and stuff, because that's the whole thing. They were, because the Republicans, they're trying to ban abortions, and so they that was their stand, is they had like a mobile abortion clinic. Let me see if I can pull it up. But yeah,
Just like a emergency dental clinic that pops up or
yeah,
whatever, or donate blood, a medic thing sitting out in the parking lot. That's kind of crazy that they would base their whole thing on that.
Yeah, they seem to be very pro-abortion. That's for sure.
yeah.
Not
Yeah,
even just like pro-choice or pro-life, but they're definitely pro-abortion now. That's for sure.
yeah.
They definitely have changed over the years because they used to be pro-choice, but they've really gone for it.
So
So
I'm just gonna. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but
no,
okay.
but
It says,
I did hear that. I did see
yeah.
that on the news. Yeah.
So this is
That
on
is
USA
wild.
Today. Abortions at the DNC? Question mark. Planned Parenthood bus providing no cost services and vasectomies at the DNC. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that
So
is so terrible.
that's the one thing. Like abortion is a big issue for me.
Oh my gosh.
Like my kids are all adopted, and I mean, just I'm so thankful that their parents or their mom didn't choose
Yes.
abortion.
And what these people don't
Yeah.
understand is God created each one of those babies for a special reason.
Oh yeah.
It,
I mean,
yeah,
there could have been a doctor that could have cured cancer in one of these
yes,
abortion babies. Who knows?
yes. There's people out there that's praying right now for a miracle. Well, their miracles may be getting aborted right now as we speak.
Yeah.
Because their blessing could be in that baby grew up to be able to miraculously do something that they needed, that they were praying for, but yet they've got an abortion clinic sitting out in the parking lot. That is evil.
It is.
I'm sorry, but that is evil.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't like to get political, but that's
But that
something
is,
I had to talk about.
that's more than political though. I mean, to me, that's life. You're dealing with the spirit and everything there because you're killing it. I mean,
Yeah.
you're just, that should be non-biased. That should not be political. That is
Yeah.
human. That's just human life, period.
Another thing that this may open up a rabbit trail. I know we're getting, we're going on an hour, but I just want to say there, back in, during the biblical times, there was an altar to Baal, and they used to sacrifice, babies to Baal.
Oh yeah,
And
people's
there's
children. We were talking about that last week.
yeah,
Having your children pass through fire and all that as well.
yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Sacrifice your children.
yeah. So there's like, it's kind of a conspiracy that a lot of these higher ups are
Oh yeah,
worshipers
they're
of
doing that.
Baal. Yeah, they worship Baal. And
Mhm.
that's the god that they pray to, like the whole what is it, the Bohemian Grove and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
The effigy of like an owl and stuff. So
yeah.
but that's, if they're doing this, that's kind of like sacrificing these children at their convention, if you
Yes,
think
it
about it,
is. Because the more, because I can go right down that, rabbit hole or whatever, but the more that they torture these children while they're being killed, the more potent their blood is, and if they use that, it gives them youth. It's like a fountain of youth to them, they
Yeah.
say. For them to use that baby's blood, or that, whoever died, if as long as they're being tortured more and they're in more pain and more fear whenever they die, then they're more potent.
Hmm.
And, yeah, I could go down that rabbit hole really deep
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. It's so sad too, because we're kind of skirting the edge of getting kicked off YouTube right now. But there's that Rumble platform, which may be better anyways, but yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's after the dark discussion.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, all right.
You're funny. Well, yeah, we appreciate you having on and sharing your testimony. Very powerful. We thank you for
Yeah.
coming on and sharing it.
Oh, absolutely.
Not only that, we'll love to have you back and talk about any of the myriad things that you want to talk about, because we're
Sure.
always looking for guests. So we'll pencil you in for a part 2,
Yeah.
and then we'll go from there. Why don't you
All right.
promote your Bigfoot group and all that before we leave?
Oh, East Tennessee Bigfoot. Yeah, it's you can. I think we've got a web page out there in it,
Yeah.
easttennesseebigfoot.org, and then we're going to be down at the we're going to be in Crossville. I know October the 19th, maybe, I think, and then they have this Oktoberfest. Or not Oktoberfest, but October Sky Fest in Oliver
Mhm.
Springs, where they actually filmed it, and we're going to be down there set up too. It's on that date, so yeah,
Yeah.
you guys got to check it out. Matt made a book recently,
Yeah. I was
and
going
he
to say
released
that.
his book.
So I'm, for those of you who don't know, I'm actually part of East Tennessee Bigfoot. I'm not really an active member because I don't really go out and do stuff, but I'm kind of like a member.
Silent
Yeah,
partner.
I don't really communicate stuff on there like I should, but yeah, Matt Sieber, he's an incredible guy. Make
hmm
sure you check out his book.
yeah,
He's just awesome.
yeah,
Also, what she was referring to is October Sky. So
yeah,
if for people who don't know, in Oliver Springs, Tennessee, there was a movie filmed there was it about rockets? What was it about
yeah. The
about,
Rocket Boys,
yeah,
basically, about where they created those rockets stuff.
yeah.
It's called October Sky. Had that dude in it. I can't remember his
Oh.
name. He played in Brokeback Mountain. I remember that much. I didn't watch the movie, but that's what I always refer him to. I'm sorry, but that's a
Was it
horrible thing.
Matt Damon? No,
No,
not Matt
Jake
Damon.
Yeah,
Gyllenhaal probably,
Jake
right?
Jake Gyllenhaal? I don't know.
yes.
I don't
Yeah,
know those guys.
I don't know their names.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, guys. And I want to thank all of our listeners. I mean, we have quite a few people communicating and listening live. That's awesome to see. Thanks, guys, for listening. I see Laura and 305 Paranormal. There's a bunch of other people. But yeah, thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Awesome.
yeah, thanks again for coming on. We appreciate it. And make sure everyone tunes in next week. Next week we have another interview. I didn't tell Jason about this, but we already have
Oh,
another interview lined up. My pastor at my local church, Pastor Frank, he has an incredible testimony. He's gonna be coming on sharing that and talking about, I don't know what else. We'll find out.
awesome.
Awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. Jason, why don't you plug Fat Tack and then we'll head out.
Yeah. Hey,
'Cause I
guys,
think we
check
forgot to
out.
do that.
Yeah, well, I think we did forget to do that. Check out fattack.com for all your tactical needs. There's some new stuff on the horizon that's going to be on Fat Tack soon. I don't want to give spoilers, but it's going to be really cool. But guys, like I say all the time, it's for big or small. Fat Tack's got you covered. From holsters to plate carriers to keep you safe. I actually met the guy over Prime Armor, who's the plate carrier manufacturer for Fat Tack, and he's an awesome guy. So shout out to Sergio if you're listening. But guys, it's made in Texas, all American made. So yeah, check out Fat Tack for anything you need. And I guess that's about it. Oh, guys, by the way, if you're listening to this and you can't find us on Instagram, that's because our name has changed. It is no longer AFK Discussions. It is IOTI Podcast on Instagram because Image of the Invisible is too long. So I may be abbreviating that also going forward on YouTube. I may change the name to that. IOTI
Facebook
Podcast
as well.
Yeah, and Facebook. I need to change that. But yeah, guys, make sure you are looking for us on all social media platforms right now. Most of them are still AFK Discussions, but they will be changing soon. But yeah, thanks for listening, guys. I appreciate it, Phil.
And we will see you next week.
All right,
Peace.
later.
Sorry, a little slow.